On the way to the hospital, my wife received an emergency call from my stepdaughter's bio dad, so she kicked me out of the car while I was in pain and told me to figure it out and left. When she got home later that night, stepdaughter made this announcement, and now I'm the villain because I manipulated her daughter. So 3 days back, I, 41 male, had a bit of an accident and hurt my wrist. It's nothing serious, it's just a sprain, but at the time when it happened, I was in a lot of pain. When it happened, only my wife Mia, 45 female, and I were at home, and I asked her to take me to the nearby ER so I could get this checked out because I had thought I had fractured my wrist somehow. Initially, she was very skeptical and unwilling to take me to the ER and kept telling me that it was going to be fine if I just put some ice on it, but I didn't want to take any risks, so I convinced her to drive me. But halfway through the ride she received a call from her ex-partner and literally asked me to get out of the car because she had an emergency that she needed to deal with. We were just a couple of minutes away from the ER, so I tried to convince her to at least drop me there before she left, but she refused and kicked me out, telling me to figure it out for myself because she had an emergency. I was in a lot of pain, but somehow I walked to the ER myself, and it was a 15-minute walk, whereas by car it would have only taken me a couple of minutes. When I got there, I was hot and sweaty because of the heat, and the pain also felt worse. Anyway, while I was waiting, I called my stepdaughter April and explained the situation to her, and within 20 minutes, she showed up and she was the one who drove me home. April, 22 female, is Mia's daughter with her ex. Let's call him Eric, 44 male, but she and I are very close and she calls me dad. I've pretty much raised her since she was 7 years old because Mia and Eric broke up when she was 4 and they don't really have that strong of a bond, so April was obviously very upset that her mother had just kicked me out of the car when I was injured and then left me to walk to the ER, especially when I was in so much pain. Even when we found out that it was just a sprain, she told me that it was still no excuse for my mother to have treated me this way, and she was very upset with her. I didn't bother to defend her because I was pretty upset with her as well. When we got home, my hand was in a splint and I would have to wear it for 3 to 4 weeks. So I don't think that's nothing like Mia had been claiming. And I think I did the right thing by getting myself to the ER. After we got home, April stayed with me and helped me out with everything, but I could tell that there was something bothering her. Then in the evening, when Mia finally came back home, she sat all of us down and said some things that have caused a lot of problems, but even then I'm proud of her for taking a stand for me. She got me, Mia and our twin daughters, 15 female, to sit in the living room, and then she made an announcement saying that she had recently been contacted by her great-uncle's lawyer and apparently the man had left her a pretty significant inheritance. For context, her great-uncle is on Mia's side of the family and April was very close to him since they had a lot of common interests. He passed away recently, and it's not surprising that he left so much money to April because he was quite well off and his own wife and kids had unfortunately passed away in an accident a long time ago. So we had expected him to leave something to April, but we had no idea that he would leave her so much. We were happy for her and I was about to come to congratulate her, but she had more to say. And then came the controversial bit where she announced that she had been thinking about splitting her inheritance with her parents. That's me and Mia. But after what had happened today and the way Mia had been behaving for the past couple of weeks, she had decided that it would be better for her to split the inheritance with me instead. Because right now, she didn't think that her mother was treating any of us right, and, of course, she wasn't exactly wrong. Eric had recently moved back here a couple of months ago and initially, he and Mia had started reconnecting as friends because he intended on spending more time with April. And he believed that Mia could get it to happen because she was closer to him and April wasn't really interested in meeting her biological father that often because, like I said, they don't have a strong relationship, and that's mainly because of Eric and his work. Eric and Mia had broken up because he had to move away for work and they couldn't do long distance, and after that his relationship with his daughter also started deteriorating. He would only come back home on alternate weekends to spend time with April, but as he made progress at work, he got busier and couldn't visit her that often. Sometimes April would go without seeing her father in person for months, and even when he did visit, it would only be for a couple of days initially. She used to resent her dad for not being there for her, but then Mia and I got together and I was so nice to her that in her head, she pretty much started replacing her dad with me, and it worked out well for all of us because I really loved April like one of my own daughters and she treats me like her dad. I'm sorry to say, but I don't think that Eric was ready to be a dad back then. So he took the easy way out and tried to build a relationship with his daughter on his terms and as per his convenience. That didn't work out well for him and now they hardly have a relationship. Now that Eric has returned, he tried to build a relationship with April again, but she shut it down pretty quickly because now that she's an adult, she's already set in her ways and I don't think anyone can blame her. When he had the time and opportunity, Eric decided to prioritize his work and his life over his daughter. So this is not exactly unexpected now. So that's why he had to start speaking to Mia, trying to get her to repair the relationship between him and April and basically just acting like a mediator. That's how it at least started from what I know. But recently, she has pretty much shifted her entire attention from her family to Eric, and it's not like we haven't discussed this already. I don't like her increasing closeness with him and I'm not a generally insecure person, but it's gone to an extent where this is getting on my nerves. Both of them are in the same line of work and they are thinking about starting a business together. And she has reassured me time and again that they are interacting strictly in a business and platonic capacity. But even then, the fact that she goes over to her ex's place at least twice a week doesn't sit right with me, and we've been bickering about it a lot. And then what happened when I was on my way to the hospital? I can't seem to move on from that. So when April announced that she would be splitting the inheritance with me and her mother would have to stay out of it, all of us were a bit awkward about it, but Mia instantly got to her feet and started accusing me of manipulating her daughter against her and her father. She didn't even say anything to April, who had actually made the announcement and that decision on her own. She straight up just started attacking me and told me that I needed to stop overreacting and getting insecure about every little thing. Mia was screaming in my face about how she had to leave only because she had some business emergency that she had to deal with, and Eric had called her about a potential investor, which is why she had to leave. And I needed to stop being a fuss because she was sure that my injury wasn't even as bad as I was making it out to be. She said that she knew that I was only shedding crocodile tears to make her daughter feel bad for me and manipulate her into taking my side by making her out to be the villain. Until then, I was just dumbfounded, but then when she said that I had already replaced April's father in her life but I couldn't replace her even if I tried, that's when I finally lost it. I started fighting back and gave her a piece of my mind. I told her that she was the one acting irresponsible and crazy here, and if she thought that I was overreacting because she would spend half the week at her ex's place, then maybe there was something wrong with her because anybody in my place would have already left her. So if anything, I was underreacting because I trusted her, but now I don't think she deserves to be trusted anymore. Clearly, her priorities had changed, and me and her family don't matter to her anymore. It's all about Eric all of a sudden and all these sudden meetings that they were having. It didn't even matter whether they were discussing business or April or whether they were just having an affair behind my back, because now I was done. At first, I hadn't been suspicious, because I thought that she wouldn't jeopardize 12 years of marriage for her ex, but now I wasn't so sure of that anymore. She got even more agitated when I implied that she might have been cheating on me, and the fight just got worse to the point where we were just cursing at each other, and April had to intervene and separate us so that we could both calm down. After our fight, Mia walked out and didn't come back home until late at night. Even then, she just packed a couple of things from our bedroom and left without a word to me, but told April that she was going to be staying with a friend for a couple of days. Now 3 days have passed, and I feel terrible about the fight. Even April hasn't been able to go back to her apartment and has had to work from home for the past 3 days. Because if she leaves, I'll be completely on my own until the twins come back home. And that won't be until the evening because they have their co-curricular activities after school. She hasn't complained about it and seems happy to be here with me. But even then I feel like she's having to give up her privacy so she can be here for me, and it shouldn't be her responsibility. It should be Mia's responsibility to help me out right now, but she's not even here. I feel really guilty for even creating the situation. I feel like if I had just kept my cool the other day, then maybe we would have been able to sort the situation out without having everything get so out of control. April has told me several times that I shouldn't blame myself for any of this because if anything, it's her mother who created the situation, and I've already been dealing with her with a lot more patience and level-headedness than most people. But even then, I feel like this is all my fault. AITA for getting into a fight with my wife because she's been keeping in touch with her ex lately? Edit. Okay. Couple of things that I think I have to address. First, I'm not shaming Eric for choosing his career over anything. In fact, I didn't even think that I was shaming him. I just thought that I was pointing out the facts. Eric did not choose his daughter. That's just a fact, and it's not my fault that April has a better relationship with me than him. I put in the time, I put in the effort, and he didn't. That's just how it works. He didn't try to be there for his daughter when he was younger during his formative years, but I was there. And now as an adult, he can try to build a relationship with him. But if April doesn't want it, then I don't think he can force it on him even with Mia's help. So I really don't know what they have been meeting about so frequently since the business idea only occurred to them a couple of weeks ago, and they've been working on it since then. But before that, they apparently only met to discuss April. And secondly, I'm not a complete fool like a lot of you seem to think. I know that there might have been something going on with Mia and Eric. I haven't completely ruled that possibility out, but it's just that it hurts me so much to even think about it, that I didn't speak about it too much on my post, and I have been actively trying not to think about it in my life. So I'm not clueless. I know that he might be having an affair, but I've just been trying to look the other way so far because it hurts me too much to think about it. It's obviously not the most healthy way to deal with it, but what else could I do? It's not like I had any hard evidence. It's just my suspicions and insecurity. And even though I have spoken to her about it a couple of times now, she's always managed to reassure me that there's nothing going on between the two of them and that they are just friends. They have stayed in touch for many years even after they broke up because, of course, they have a daughter together, and until recently I never had an issue with it, but now I find it very uncomfortable and it's very embarrassing to even say it out loud because it makes me feel like a high school guy. But I really don't appreciate them having a relationship like this anymore because it feels like it's crossing the limit of what counts as platonic at this point. Anyway, my point is that I know there might be something going on between the two. I just haven't been able to acknowledge it so far, but now I guess I have to. Update 1. So I spoke to April about whatever I was feeling, and first off, I apologize for putting her through so much trouble because it's been a week since Mia walked out and she's been staying with me. She's been a great help because I can hardly do anything with my sprained wrist since it's the right hand that's been affected. So she's been helping me out with the chores that I can't do, and she's also been working from home, like I said. I know it must be very stressful for her, because even though I've had to switch to working from home too, at least I don't have to worry about the household work anymore, and it's all thanks to her. I told her that I had been feeling really guilty about all of this because it was really not her responsibility, since Mia should be the one here helping me out right now, but she told me it was no big deal because even when she was younger, technically speaking, I wasn't supposed to be her responsibility because we are not even biologically related. But I went above and beyond for her. So this is the least that she can do for me. It got me really emotional and I ended up crying and venting to her. I told her about my suspicions of her mother being unfaithful to me with her dad because of how much they've been hanging out lately, and I thought that she would tell me that I was overthinking everything and that no matter how she was, Mia would never be able to cheat on me. But unfortunately, she just stayed silent. So I knew that she was thinking along the same lines, that there was no telling what Mia would do or not, at least at this point, because things had already turned very bitter. After a while, she finally spoke up and she told me that while she wasn't exactly sure whether Mia had been cheating on me or not, she was sure that they were definitely not discussing her or trying to repair her relationship with her dad like they had said they were going to do, because for the past couple of months, she has hardly received any messages or phone calls from Eric. She wanted to talk to me about it and had been looking for the opportunity, but she didn't want to start any trouble between the two of us. And besides, this was an awkward enough topic to deal with anyway, so she hadn't found the courage to bring it up with me so far. When April told me that, I was already feeling pretty down, and it just shattered me because if Eric was not even trying to reach out to his own daughter, then whatever Mia had been telling me about the two of them brainstorming ways to repair the relationship between father and daughter had all been just a bunch of BS. I didn't know what to say to that, so I just told April that at this point in time, I thought the only way I could deal with this situation was by filing for a divorce because I was not comfortable with her closeness with Eric anymore, and it was very obvious that she couldn't care less about whether I liked it or not. In fact, I didn't even know if they were actually planning on starting a business together or if it was all just an excuse to get together. Things have come to a point where I'm not sure about anything anymore, and at my age, I don't want to deal with stuff like this. I've already put up with everything that I possibly can without any complaints because I really loved her, but even love has its limits. I couldn't think of anybody that I could say this to as comfortably as I confessed it to April, because my mom, who I was close to, passed away a couple of years ago, and my dad hasn't been part of my life since I was little. And I'm glad that April seemed to understand, because even though she's not my biological daughter, she's more than what I could have asked for. My twins are still too young to understand these things, but April is older and more mature, and she told me that if I really wanted a divorce, then I should go ahead without caring about anybody else's feelings. Because currently nobody is prioritizing my feelings, so the least I can do for myself is put myself first. Besides, there's no telling what might be going on between her mother and her dad at this point in time. And it's not like even if I do confront her about it, she's gonna tell me the entire truth. The whole situation has gotten really bad and out of hand, and it's time that I extract myself from it before I get even more hurt than I already have. That's the advice that April had for me, and I have to say, even though she's so much younger than me, that's pretty sound advice, and I just needed to hear that. So I've already started looking up divorce attorneys. And soon enough, I think I'm gonna be filing for a divorce. In the meantime, if Mia does come back home at any point, I'm gonna talk to her about it and let her know about my decision. But my mind has already been made up. It's going to be difficult, I'm already aware of that. But, honestly, after what's been going on for the past couple of months ever since Eric came back, I think this is going to be a cakewalk for me now. Update 2. Hi. So it's been a pretty rough week. 2 weeks ago, Mia walked out, and she still hasn't come back. I've spoken to a lawyer. April helped me get in touch with her. And a couple of days ago, I filed for a divorce. Mia and I haven't blocked each other. We just stopped talking. So I just left her a message telling her that given the situation right now, I don't think it's necessary for us to be together anymore. It's very obvious that her priorities have shifted after Eric has come back, and I can't deal with it anymore. It's been emotionally devastating for me, but it's time that I took a stand for myself, and I'm doing that by filing for divorce. I poured my heart out in that message, but she did not reply, and there was nothing else that I had to say to her, so I just let it go. Today, I think she was served with the divorce papers because she reached out to April and told her that she would be signing off in a couple of days. She just needed some time to get her lawyer to take a look at the terms of the divorce. But other than that, she had gone through it herself and she was completely fine with the terms that I had put forth. I found it a little sad that even though I had texted her myself, she didn't even have the courtesy to reply to me personally and was speaking to me through April. But whatever, I have learned not to expect anything from Mia anymore. And this nonchalant attitude towards the divorce, it just makes me even more sure that there must have been something going on with her and Eric. Because even when we have fought earlier, we have had really terrible fights, but we have never even entertained the idea of divorce because she just wouldn't have it. And to be very honest, neither did I ever think that it would come to a stage like this, but here we are and there's nothing much that we can do at this point. On a better note, at least my daughters are all on my side. The twins, even though they are really young, seem to understand what I'm going through and have been extra supportive and compassionate. April, as always, has been very mature about the whole thing and even helped me break the news to the twins a couple of days back when I finally filed for divorce. I thought that they were going to be upset with me, but they were very supportive and I really can't ask for more. As long as all three of my daughters are by my side, I think I can pretty much tackle everything. This whole situation with Mia is really nothing, and luckily the twins are 15 and by the end of the year they'll be turning 16, so I don't even think that we need to get into the whole custody thing. We can just speak to them, get a lawyer to do the paperwork and arrange something that works for all of us. But right now, the twins have very negative sentiments towards their mother and don't want to spend any time with them. With time I'm sure that might change, but for now they're very adamant that they are going to be staying with me and don't want to see their mom. Update 3. So 5 days have passed since my last update, and today, Mia came back home with the signed divorce papers. She's not contesting anything, and as soon as the waiting period is over, the divorce will be finalized since we've already worked out the nitty-gritty with our lawyers in the past couple of days. She hadn't called to inform me that she would be visiting today, so I was a little shocked when I saw her outside the door, but I still let her in. She told me that she was only here to collect her things because she was running out of clothes to wear and she couldn't keep borrowing. It's the weekend, so April and the twins were all at home, and throughout the time that their mother was here, they just stayed away from her and barely even looked at her. It was very obvious that they were pointedly ignoring her, and even she did not acknowledge any of us until she was done packing, and then right before she was about to leave she finally addressed her daughters and told them that she could understand that they were very upset about whatever was going on with me and her, but they needed to understand that both she and I were going through a lot of stuff in our personal lives and these are not things that they would understand at their age. But at the end of the day, she was still their mother, and she knew that even though they hated her right now, they would understand her point of view at some point as well. The kids didn't say anything, and neither did I, because even though she was completely off about all of that, about both of us going through things in our personal lives, we just didn't want any more drama, so we stayed silent, and then she left. The second her car pulled out of the driveway, April started ranting about how insane it was that even now, after so much had happened, she was still not willing to admit that she had screwed up everything that she had and completely messed her family up. She didn't hold back at all after she had left and told me that she knew that she was the only one going through issues in her personal life. The only issues that I was going through were the ones created by her, and that really hit the hammer on the nail because that's exactly what it was. Maybe she was going through a midlife crisis or something. That's why she was getting so close with Eric, but I didn't have any problems until that started, and yet in her speech she pretended as if both of us were in the wrong. April was mad as it was, and even the twins were very upset that she was presumptuous enough to say that at one point they would understand her side, because from what they had so far, there was no side of this that they needed to understand. She was wrong. What she did was messed up, and that's it. And the only thing she needed to say today when she came back was that she was sorry about everything, but instead, she screwed that up for herself as well. Anyway, I'm glad that my daughters dealt with the situation in a dignified manner and didn't get into any unnecessary fights with her, because, clearly, she's beyond reasoning at this point. She's so delusional that she has actually started to think that maybe she has a point and that whatever she was doing up till now was completely fine, even though it cost her family life. She can continue believing that. I don't care about that anymore. Update 4. Hey. So it's been 6 months since my last update, and the divorce was finalized a few months ago. I'm in therapy right now. I didn't really think it was going to do me any good, but April talked me into going for it, and I've got to say it's actually been going pretty well. From what I know, Eric and Mia did start their own business a couple of months back right after our divorce was finalized. So maybe they were telling the truth about that, but I'm also pretty sure that they are hooking up right now. I don't know why, but I just have this feeling that they are. A few months ago, knowing that would have devastated me, but now I just feel nothing. I gave this woman 12 years of my life and she messed it up. So it's her loss, not mine. I'm just happy that my daughters and I are doing well on our own. That's all that matters to me.